Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to fix my Escape Pod palette from Kaleidos Makeup. So yeah, I love this palette and I think it's beautiful, but I do have a couple of gripes with it. So if you want to hear what my gripes are and if you want to see how I'm going to fix those gripes, we are going to get started in just a second. Before we do, if you're new here, hi, my name is Annie. I am a 40-something lover of color who believes that you can have fun with color at any age. If that sounds interesting, if you'd like to see more color in your timeline, if you are someone who just loves to use color or even just learning how to use color or hates color but just likes to watch other people look like crazy clowns, I would love it if you would stick around and subscribe down below. My spiel is done. Let's go into the meat of this video. So this is of course the Escape Pod palette from Kaleidos Makeup, and I love this palette. I think it's beautiful. Now when I say I'm going to fix it, I am not one of those people who likes to depot my shadows and put them elsewhere. Part of the experience with makeup for me is the packaging. I love the packaging. I think packaging is so fun and so cute, and when I pull out a palette, it just inspires me to see it in its original packaging. It's just the way I am. It just makes me happy and it makes me smile, and I love that. So I don't like to depot my shadows. If you are one of those people, you are a brave soul, because I'm also terrified of smashing my favorite shadow, and that would just seriously break my heart. So I keep all of my things in their original packaging. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on here. So let's go ahead and talk about my gripes with this palette. So I think I probably have the same gripe that a lot of people do, and that is that there are some redundant shades. There are 2 oranges and 2 shimmery greens in this palette. So Tango and Carnival look very, very similar. Tango is a bit more salmon-y than Carnival, but they're very, very similar. You put them on the eye, you can't really tell the difference. Same thing goes for Galactic Gala and Saturnalia. You put those 2 on your eyeballs, you're not going to see a difference. You're just not. So I wish that they would have changed out these redundant shades for other colors. I would have switched out Tango for a matte lime green, and Saturnalia I would have chosen to go with a bluish kind of shimmer, something that goes really well with Exoplanet, which is this shade here. So that's what I did today. So to do that, I pulled in a couple of shadows from another palette. Now I have to make a disclaimer because I actually really dislike this palette. This is not a palette that I enjoy, but there are a few shades in here that I think are good and perform well, and so those are the ones that I use today. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina Collection Volume 2 palette, the blue palette. And I personally purchased this palette because I really liked these yellow-green tones. That's why I bought this palette. And I don't have an issue with those. I think that those tones actually work really well. The issues I have are these darker shades over here. They just never work for me and I don't like them. So I don't use this palette very often. However, this shade B1 is the shade that I chose to use in place of one of the oranges. And then the shade D1, which is that cool, that blue shimmer that I was looking for. So there's what they look like swatched out. And I think that when you add them into the color story over here, like if you were to use, that's not going to work out very well. These 2 shades in this color story, I think work really, really well. So that's what I did. If you would like to see how I came up with this look, we are going to start that right now. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started then on me fixing my Escape Pod palette. So I think what I'm going to do is I really want to use the shade Exoplanet again, which is this shade here. So I'm going to use this, and I think at least this purple, possibly this as well, on my in my crease area and my outer V. And then for my lid, I'm going to use the shade D1 from the Norvina Volume 2 palette, and under my eye I'm going to go in with the shade B1. So I have said many times that the things wrong, of course, with this palette are it's missing a bright green matte and it's also missing like a blue shimmer. So here we go. I'm going to start with Exoplanet because again, this is that formula that people did have trouble with and I don't wish to have trouble with it. So I'm going to pick that up on just a small little detail brush here. And I'm going to start by placing this here in my outer corner. Of course, I have primed my eyes already using my MAC paint pot in the shade Soft Ochre.
How did we end up here in the corner looking like enemies? We used to be the team people talk about, what a chemistry.
Okay, so now that I have that down, I am going to pick up, I think the shade Mardi Gras, and we are going to blend Mardi Gras into the inner portion of my eye here.
I can see it in your eyes. You don't want to talk anymore. I want to get so numb, while we enemies.
And then I want to blend it across the top as well, but I want to do that very, very precisely. So I'm going to just pick up a very small brush to do this with. And picking up Mardi Gras again, I want to go right along the edge of the shadows.
Don't mind the way I stutter my words. You know exactly what it means and how it hurts. Oh, I can't believe you're here. Can't get any worse. No.
And then I've got a wee bit of a harsh line there, which I'm not loving. So I'm actually just going to take a little bit of those two shadows mixed together. Just kind of like a 1-to-1 ratio, and go in with a little bit of a scratchier brush to see if we can move those shadows about a bit and blend that harsh line out right here. There we go.
Get out of here. I find it so hard to breathe. 'Cause when you
Okay, and then I do want to go in with that really pale purple, the shade Soiree as well. I'm just going to pick that up on a little bitty blending brush here, and we are just going to blend at the top edge of all of those shadows.
close, I lose my way and I freeze. I wish you knew what power you have.
Okay, so my memory card was apparently full and it cut off, but all I did basically was, I think you saw me putting that light shade Soiree and just blending out the top edges here. I am going to have to go in probably with Lo-Fi and just highlight under my brow with that at the end. But for now, we're going to leave it here and we're going to move on to the shimmer on the lid. So for the shimmer on my lid, I'm going to go into the shade D1, which is this shade here. It looks like this. It is a really pretty kind of, it's got like, I don't know, it's got like this shifty bluey green kind of awesomeness to it. And I think that this would be a perfect addition to this palette. So you've probably heard me rail against the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina 2 palette multiple times. I do not like this palette. There are a few shades that I do like, and this happens to be one of them. In fact, the two shades that I'm going to be using today are the two shades from this palette that are two of the shades from this palette that I actually do like. So I am going to go ahead and pick up some NYX Glitter Primer on my little brush here, and we are going to go ahead and add that to my lid. Got a little too much there. We'll spread the wealth.
But now it's so hard to breathe. Just get me out of here.
And then going into that shade D1, just using the same brush, we're going to pick some of that up and we are going to add it to the lid. See, I think that is like the perfect addition to this palette. I just want to blend these two together, so I'm just going to go into a little bit more Exoplanet, and I'm just going to tap it over the edge where those two meet. And then just kind of start to drag that D1 shade over into it until I get a blend that I'm happy with.
Just get me out of how keep
I think, yeah, I really like that. I'm really happy with the way that shadow looks in conjunction with these other shadows. So yes, they should have included a shadow like this, I feel like. It would have been way better than having the two green shimmers and the two orange mattes. For my lower lash line, I am going to go in with the shade B1, which is this bright green here. I'm going to pick that up to start with on a smudger brush, and we are just going to smudge that along the lower lash line.
Be the one getting crazy when I be hard to reach. I can see it in your eyes. You don't wanna talk anymore. I wanna get so numb.
All right, I think I am happy with the way that looks. I do have this really like abrupt stop here, so what I want to do is I'm actually going to just take a little bit of Lo-Fi, which is this bone shade here, and I'm going to kind of blend along here where those meet.
Were we enemies? No, you don't mind the way I stutter my words.
And add a bit under my brow as well. Ooh, got a little crazy over here. Then because I'm still not really happy with that, I think what I want to do is go in with that tiny brush that I used earlier. I'm just going to wipe it off, and I'm going to go in with a little bit more Mardi Gras, just a little, and kind of add a bit of that pinker tone down here.
Exactly what it means and how it hurts. Oh, I can't believe you're
Okay, so for my inner corner, I think I'm going to use one of these greens. So I'm going to go into Galactic Gala, which is this shade here. I do want to add just a smidgen more, what is it called? Glitter glue. A smidgen more glitter glue. That's what I want. So I'm just going to pop a bit here and a bit under my eye as well. And then again, just using the same brush, go right into Galactic Gala and pop it here on the inner corner and wrap it down underneath.
Can't get any worse, no, no. I just wanna get out of here. I find it so hard to breathe.
All right, so I do need to add some liner and mascara, and I need to choose a highlighter and lipstick and all of that jazz. So I will be back in just a moment to show you the final look. So here's the final look.
When you get too close, I lose my way and I freeze. I wish you knew.
All right, I am really pleased with the way this look came out. I just added a purple lip. We don't talk about that company here anymore. But yeah, so that's what's on my lips there today. But I am really, really happy with this color combination. I really, really do wish that when Kaleidos built this palette that they would have included that matte green and a blue shimmer. I think it just adds so much more depth and interest to the palette. So for me personally, I probably would have replaced Saturnalia with the blue shimmer and probably Tango with that matte green. I think that it just, again, would have made this palette so much more interesting, and you can just do so much more with it. So I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do you think that this palette is perfect the way it is, or would you have made changes as well? Let me know down in the comments. And with that, I guess I'm going to say goodbye. So if you enjoyed today's video, I would love it if you would leave a like down below. Next to that like, of course, is subscribe. If you hit subscribe and ring the bell, you will be notified of all of my uploads. And of course, I'm on Instagram. You can find me there at seemybliss_beauty. And with that, I'm going to say, please don't forget to wash your hands, wear your mask, please be kind to your friends and your families and your neighbors and the strangers in the grocery store, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
How will you